Listen, I'm about to destroy everything you believe about your comfortable middle-class life. And I don't care if it makes you angry because somebody needs to tell you the truth. The middle class is a lie. It's a financial fairy tale designed to keep you trapped, keep you spending, and keep you from ever building real wealth. I'm Kevin O'Leary, and for over 40 years, I've been watching people fool themselves into thinking they're financially secure when they're actually one paycheck away from disaster. Here's the brutal reality. There are only two types of people in this world: those who are building wealth and those who are going broke. There's no middle ground. There's no safe zone. You're either moving forward or you're sliding backward, and most of you are sliding backward faster than you realize. The so-called middle class? It's just a comfortable name for people who are slowly going broke while pretending they're doing fine. Now, if you're serious about escaping this trap, if you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck while telling yourself you're middle class, then hit that subscribe button right now. Join this community of people who understand that financial mediocrity is not an option. We're building something here, a group of individuals who refuse to accept the lies society tells them about money, because what I'm about to share with you will either wake you up or make you angry. Either way, you need to hear it. The first lie that's keeping you trapped is the middle-class lifestyle itself. You think having a nice house, 2 cars in the driveway, and a vacation once a year means you're successful. Wrong. You're not successful. You're leveraged to the hilt. You're drowning in debt and calling it prosperity. Let me ask you something. How much of your stuff do you actually own? Your house? You probably have a 30-year mortgage, which means the bank owns it for the next 3 decades. Your cars? Financed or leased, which means you're essentially renting transportation that's losing value every single day. Your furniture, your electronics, your lifestyle, all bought on credit, all owned by someone else. Here's what really drives me crazy. People tell me they can't afford to invest because they need their money for their lifestyle. What lifestyle? You mean the lifestyle that's financed by credit cards and loans? You mean the lifestyle that requires you to work for someone else for 40 years just to afford the monthly payments? That's not a lifestyle. That's a trap. And the worst part is, you've convinced yourself it's normal. I want you to do something right now. Calculate how much you actually own versus how much you owe. Add up all your assets, the real value, not what you think they're worth. Then subtract all your debts, mortgages, credit cards, car loans, everything. What's left? For most of you, the answer is nothing. Or worse, you're underwater. You have negative net worth while living like you're prosperous. That's the middle-class illusion in action. But here's where it gets even more insidious. Society has programmed you to think this is success. The marketing machine, the financial institutions, the government, they all want you to believe that consuming is the same as achieving. They want you borrowing money to buy things that lose value so you can look successful while staying poor. It's brilliant, actually. They've created a system where the more successful you try to appear, the broker you actually become. Think about it. Every time you upgrade your house, upgrade your car, upgrade your lifestyle, you're not building wealth. You're building debt. You're transferring your future income to creditors. You're making other people rich while making yourself poor. And they've convinced you this is the American dream. The American dream has become the American nightmare, and most people are living it without even realizing it. Still think I'm wrong? Let me hit you with some numbers that will wake you up. The average American household has over $6,000 in credit card debt. The average car payment is over $500 a month. The average mortgage payment takes up 25% or more of household income. Add it all up, and the average person is spending 70 to 80% of their income just to maintain their middle-class lifestyle. That leaves maybe 20–30% for everything else: food, healthcare, savings, investments, emergencies. No wonder people feel broke. They are broke. They're just broke with nice stuff. And here's the part that should terrify you. What happens when the income stops? What happens when you lose your job, get sick, or face any kind of financial emergency? Your middle-class lifestyle disappears overnight because it was never real to begin with. It was all borrowed time and borrowed money. The people who built real wealth, they can weather any storm. But the middle class, they're one crisis away from losing everything because they never actually owned anything. Now, some of you are getting defensive. You're thinking, but Kevin, I need a place to live. I need a car to get to work. I need these things. Of course you do. I'm not telling you to live in a cardboard box. I'm telling you to stop confusing necessities with luxuries. There's a massive difference between buying what you need and buying what you want to impress people who don't care about you. Here's what wealthy people understand that the middle class doesn't. We buy assets that generate income. You buy liabilities that require payments. We purchase things that work for us. You purchase things that work against you. When I buy real estate, it's because it's going to pay me rent every month. When you buy real estate, it's because you want a bigger kitchen and a 3-car garage. See the difference? I'm building wealth. You're building expenses. Let me tell you about the second trap that's keeping you poor. The belief that a job equals security. This might be the most dangerous lie of all. You think having a steady paycheck means you're financially stable. But here's the reality. You're not financially stable. You're financially dependent. You've created a situation where your entire lifestyle depends on one source of income that you don't control. Your employer can eliminate your position tomorrow. The industry you work in can become obsolete. The economy can shift and suddenly your skills aren't valuable anymore. When you put all your financial eggs in the employment basket, you're not playing it safe. You're taking the biggest risk possible. You're betting your entire financial future on something you have no control over. Wealthy people understand this. That's why we have multiple income streams. We have businesses, investments, royalties, dividends, rental income. We don't depend on any single source of money because we know that dependency is the enemy of wealth. But the middle class, they put everything into their job. They work harder and harder for one paycheck while the world changes around them, and then they're shocked when that security disappears. Here's what's even worse. The middle class mindset teaches you to be grateful for your job, to be a good employee, to not rock the boat. It teaches you to trade your time for money and accept whatever your employer decides you're worth. But wealthy people don't trade time for money. We make money work for us. We build systems that generate income without our constant presence. That's the difference between working for money and having money work for you. And let's talk about the retirement lie they've sold you. You're told to put money into a 401k, work for 40 years, and then retire on whatever's left. That's not a plan. That's a hope. And it's a terrible hope at that. You're essentially betting that the stock market will perform well, that inflation won't destroy your purchasing power, and that you'll live long enough to enjoy whatever scraps are left after decades of inflation and market volatility. Meanwhile, wealthy people retire whenever they want because we've built income-producing assets that support our lifestyle. We don't wait until we're 65 and hope we have enough money. We create enough passive income to retire in our 40s or 50s if we choose to. That's the difference between building wealth and depending on hope. The third trap is your obsession with homeownership. Now, before you get angry, let me be clear. I'm not saying never buy a house. I'm saying stop treating your home like it's an investment. Your primary residence is not an investment. It's an expense, a very large, very expensive, very illiquid expense. When you buy a house to live in, it takes money out of your pocket every month. Mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, repairs, utilities. It's a money pit. And even if it appreciates in value, you can't access that appreciation without selling it or borrowing against it. If you sell it, you need another place to live. If you borrow against it, you've just added more debt to your pile. But the middle class has been brainwashed into thinking homeownership is the path to wealth. So they stretch themselves to buy the biggest house they can possibly afford. They put themselves into debt for 30 years. They tie up all their capital in one illiquid asset, and they call it smart financial planning. It's not smart, it's stupid. Here's what you should do instead. Buy the smallest house you can comfortably live in. Use the money you save to buy income-producing real estate. Buy rental properties that pay you every month. Buy commercial real estate that generates positive cash flow. Buy assets that work for you instead of liabilities that work against you. I've made millions in real estate, but not from the house I live in. I've made it from the properties that pay me rent. Those are investments. My personal residence? That's just an expense that I've minimized so I can maximize my investments. That's how wealthy people think. We minimize expenses and maximize income-producing assets. The fourth trap is what I call lifestyle inflation. Every time you get a raise, every time you get a bonus, every time you get a little extra money, you immediately increase your spending. You upgrade your lifestyle to match your income. This keeps you trapped in the same financial position no matter how much money you make. I see this all the time. People making $50,000 a year are broke. People making $100,000 a year are broke. People making $200,000 a year are broke. Income doesn't solve the problem if you increase your expenses every time you increase your income. You just become broke at a higher level. Wealthy people do the opposite. When we make more money, we invest more money. We live below our means so we can build above our means. We understand that every dollar we don't spend on lifestyle is a dollar we can put to work generating more income. That's how compound growth works. That's how wealth is built. But the middle class sees money as something to spend. They see a raise as an opportunity to upgrade their car, their house, their vacation. They never see it as an opportunity to build wealth. So they work harder and harder, make more and more money, and stay exactly where they are financially. It's like running on a treadmill. Lots of effort, no progress. The fifth and final trap is your relationship with debt. The middle class has normalized debt. You think it's normal to have a mortgage, normal to have car payments, normal to have credit card balances. You've been conditioned to accept debt as a part of life. But debt is not normal. Debt is a tool that makes wealthy people wealthier and poor people poorer. When wealthy people use debt, we use it to acquire assets that generate income greater than the cost of the debt. We borrow money to buy rental properties, businesses, investments that pay us back with interest. We use leverage to multiply our wealth-building capacity, but the middle class uses debt to buy liabilities. You borrow money to buy cars that lose value. You borrow money to buy furniture and electronics and vacations. You use credit to maintain a lifestyle you can't actually afford. You're paying interest to creditors instead of receiving interest from investments. Here's the truth they don't want you to know. Every dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that could have been invested. Every monthly payment you make is money that could have been working for you instead of working against you. When you finance your lifestyle, you're not just buying things. You're buying them at the highest possible price because you're paying interest on top of the purchase price. Let me give you some real numbers. If you have $10,000 in credit card debt at 18% interest and you make minimum payments, you'll pay over $18,000 total, and it will take you over 30 years to pay it off. That's $8,000 in interest. Do you know what $8,000 invested in the stock market for 30 years becomes? Over $80,000. So your $10,000 debt actually costs you nearly $100,000 in opportunity cost. That's the real price of the middle-class lifestyle. Now I'm going to tell you exactly how to escape this trap. First, you need to get honest about your financial situation. Stop pretending you're middle class when you're actually broke. Calculate your net worth. If it's negative or close to zero, you're not middle class. You're poor with good credit. Second, you need to differentiate between assets and liabilities. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. Your house, your cars, your lifestyle purchases, these are liabilities. Stocks, bonds, rental properties, businesses, these are assets. Start buying more assets and fewer liabilities. Third, you need to create multiple income streams. Stop depending on your job for 100% of your income. Start building businesses, making investments, creating passive income. This takes time and effort, but it's the only way to build real security. Fourth, you need to live below your means. I don't care how much money you make. If you're spending it all, you're not building wealth. You need to create a gap between your income and your expenses and invest that gap consistently over time. Fifth, you need to eliminate debt, especially high-interest consumer debt. Every dollar you're paying in interest is a dollar that's not working for you. Pay off credit cards, pay off car loans, pay off everything except maybe your mortgage if it's at a very low interest rate. Here's the reality check you need. The middle class is disappearing. The jobs that supported the middle class lifestyle for decades are going away. Automation, artificial intelligence, globalization, they're all making traditional employment less secure, not more secure. If you don't adapt, if you don't start building wealth instead of just earning income, you're going to be left behind. The choice is yours. You can keep pretending that your middle-class lifestyle makes you financially secure. You can keep borrowing money to buy things that lose value. You can keep depending on your job and hoping everything works out. Or you can wake up, face the truth, and start building real wealth. If this video has opened your eyes, if you're ready to stop lying to yourself about your financial situation, then I need you to take action right now. Hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear this message, and leave a comment telling me what you're going to do differently. Are you going to calculate your real net worth? Are you going to stop buying liabilities? Are you going to start building multiple income streams? Tell me your plan, because when you write it down publicly, you're more likely to follow through. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? This channel is about financial truth, not financial fantasy. I'm not here to make you feel good about bad financial decisions. I'm here to give you the tools and strategies to build real wealth. So subscribe now and join our community of people who are serious about changing their financial lives. The middle class is a myth. Stop living the myth and start building reality. Your future self will thank you for making the hard choices today instead of the easy excuses. Now get out there and make it happen.